Good afternoon, Colonel Country, and welcome to episode 2 of Colonel's Corner under quarantine. We're here with women's basketball head coach Tara Macciocco. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Adam, thanks for having me on.
Happy to talk to you. I know it's been a while. So like I said, it's been a while since we've all been together since March. First question, what have you been up to during the quarantine?
Well, I guess trying to find creative ways to recruit, staying in touch with our team. We've been doing some leadership training with a group of our players that were interested in doing that through Zoom. I've gotten much better on the Zoom calls and learning how to use learning how to use that. I don't know how professors do it. I don't have the technology skills to do all that stuff, but I've gotten better at it. So we've done a lot of team Zooms. I think recruiting has really changed, and not being able to be live at AAU events. So trying to find creative ways to be able to watch those online and still be able to talk to the recruits, but trying to stay active and getting outside and doing things as much as possible. I know you've been doing the same thing, and trying to find all those nice places in northeastern Pennsylvania that you may not have gone to in the past.
That's right. I have been doing a lot of hiking lately, and I apologize. I know I didn't send that question to you in the
That's okay.
in the pre-interview process, but
I will say I am jealous of a lot of places you've seen. I've got to check some of those out.
Ricketts Glen.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Let's move on talking about the team. You've been the head coach of the Colonels for the last 2 years, and there's been noticeable improvement in the play of the team over the last 2 years, whether it be wins or just, competitively. How do we keep the the trajectory of the program continuing upward?
I mean, I think my staff and I have done a good job of going out and trying to find athletes that fit our system and that understand what we're trying to build at Wilkes. And I think bringing them in the last 2 years has really helped the program. I think raise the level of competitiveness, whether that be in preseason and practice. But I think the chemistry of the team has gotten much better. So some of those players that have been there for a year or two now understand what we're looking for, understand our system a little bit better. I think just continuing to try to build on the little successes. I know you can't necessarily look in the wins and loss column for us. That's not what we've been focusing on the last 2 years. It's more about those little tiny things that it might be that, we scored a certain number of points in a game, we hadn't done that, or we held the team under their average, or little successes that you can kind of look back at and say, we're going to build upon that and not focus on necessarily the wins and losses just yet. Because I do think that that's going to come in time, but it takes a while to build a program. And I think we're headed in the right direction. We have another good class coming in. And I know with these times right now, things are a little bit different, but I think everybody's still very eager and excited to continue to try to build upon that. But I think really just instilling, and I hate to use the term because everybody talks about the culture, and I hate to say that, but that's really what you're building. Is you're trying to build I like to look at it more like, I guess, like a family, and what is the family built upon, and what are the values of your family, and what are you looking for in that family and that relationship, and really building that trust within that family.
Okay, Coach. Obviously, the MAC and schools around the country announced that they would be foregoing fall sports for the time being due to the current COVID pandemic. That also might include winter sports as you guys start practice in October. What are your thoughts on the potential of not playing until possibly January 1st?
I mean, I think every university is looking out for the health and safety and well-being of the student athletes, the coaches, the university in general. So I understand where they're coming from. You're seeing it across the board. It's not just one school doing it. It's every school, almost every level right now. You're seeing Division I college football now doing that, postponing things, and it's all about keeping everybody safe and healthy. So I understand all that, but I do think that the NCAA is allowing us, and Wilkes is allowing us to find creative ways to still maintain the relationship with your players, and then get them in there to do skill work in small groups and things like that, and keeping them busy in the fall and keeping them active in the fall. For us, for winter sports, they moved our date up from, it's normally an October 15th start to October 1st to give us a little bit of a quicker start time once we get on campus. And then I think we could take advantage of still doing, Zoom things and Zoom meetings and And whether that be leadership training, it could be we could all kind of go through and read a book and talk about stuff in that leadership type book. So you're working on other things that might not necessarily be on the basketball court, but you're still working on things that are going to help you once you're able to compete. And I think it gives everybody a chance. We have a couple people that had, we have 3 that had 2 returners and 1 incoming freshman that had ACL surgeries in the off season. So that gives them a chance to kind of get themselves healthy and get back and ready to play in the spring if that were to happen. And I think it gives those freshmen a chance to kind of get out and get more acclimated to the college game too. So all of us in the college athletics are competitive people. We want to get out there right away and we want to play, and you get back on campus, that's your first thought. But the most important thing is keeping everybody safe and healthy. But at the same time, I do appreciate the fact that Wilkes is allowing us to try to find creative ways to get workouts in and do things like that, and use the strength and conditioning facility and all that. So
Now let's talk about yourself personally. You've had a lot of success on the court, scoring over 2,000 points when you were at Dunsmuir, earning a scholarship to Penn State, and being inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, all while hailing from northeastern Pennsylvania area. What does it mean for you to have stayed local for most of your career and to have achieved this kind of level of success?
I think it's awesome that I get to be here and my family gets to come to all the games. My mom and dad are at almost every single game at home. My grandparents get to come to 1 or 2 of those games a year. So having been able to kind of stay around my family throughout my entire playing and coaching career, it has been pretty awesome. My sister lives locally and she has 3 kids, and they get to come to the games and they're on the bench running around and be ball girls and ball boys. And I think that's really neat that I get to do what I love and be around all the people that I love and care about and have that kind of support around here. So I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do that and have the opportunity to be able to do that in my backyard.
Now, many people might not know this about you, but you served as an assistant coach at Wilkes 20 years ago. How much has campus changed since then? And does return to the March Center hold a special significance to you?
Well, absolutely. But first and foremost, you're dating me now and giving my age. 20 years ago, that's scary to think about that.
At least I didn't say 30.
You did say 30 originally, so I'm glad that we changed that. God, fast forward 10 years, that's scary. But I loved my time at Wilkes when I was there when I first got out of grad school and was able to be an assistant and learn under Jim Reed, who's now an assistant at Bucknell, which was an awesome experience. I also was very fortunate that I worked in the admissions office when I was there. I don't know if you knew that. So I had 2 years as an assistant director in admissions. So I really got to learn the ins and outs of financial aid, recruiting, scholarships, all of that, and became very, very familiar with giving campus tours and being able to do that kind of stuff as an admissions counselor. But when I came back to interview 2 years ago, I was shocked at the changes on campus. The McHale Athletic Center, for one, unbelievable. March Center is pretty similar, except for the blue room now. That wasn't around when I was there first go around. A lot of the staff was still the same. Addie, Phil, Tommy, and Schlager. They were all there the first time around, so it was pretty neat that I knew all of them. But the campus itself, the gateway, everything on campus is so much nicer and so much prettier, and it really is a nice city campus, but you get a really, really small college campus feel. The other thing that when I was on the interview walking around campus, I thought to myself, I went to Penn State, which was a big football school and a big athletic school, and you walk around Wilkes campus, and I got that same type of feeling, and I tell this to recruits all the time, that you see the logo, the W everywhere, the Colonel everywhere, and it's just really neat. It gives you that big campus feel on a smaller campus. So I think that was what really impressed me the most, was the amount of support that athletics had all over the campus, and the changes that were made, and how nice of a campus it really is. And I was fortunate that I was there on a very sunny, beautiful day. And when it's sunny out and very pretty, the campus is beautiful. So it's really neat.
Now, you mentioned Associate Athletic Director, former men's soccer coach Phil Wingert, and Equipment and Facilities Manager Tom Dunsmuir. Now, I have to ask, when you were here 20 years ago, did they have those beautiful mustaches that they no longer have, that we've all seen in pictures?
I don't remember. God. Well, Tommy was working with softball at the time. I remember that. I can remember him. He was driving it's the 26 passenger bus that we have on campus. He would drive that with the softball team.
They let him drive those?
He would drive those. I don't know. You didn't know that?
No.
He would drive those. And Phil was coaching soccer at the time. So my relationship with Phil was a little bit different at that time because when I was working in admissions, I was helping recruit for men's soccer through the admissions office with Phil. So it was a different type of relationship. And then, of course, I went to Marywood and had Phil as an official. So that was a little bit different as well. But I don't remember about the mustaches. That's a good question.
I'm always dying to find pictures of them, and I've seen some good ones of both of them. Now, talking back to your high school career, you got a chance to play for your dad for 4 years, who's a local coaching legend. How does having a very experienced coach so close to home benefit you as being a coach in your own right?
Well, it benefits me, but I feel bad for him. In all honesty, I feel bad because he's the first person after every game, after every practice. It's like, Dad, they didn't do this, or they couldn't do that, or I need to do this, I need to do that. He sits down and watches film with me. He is, when you say local legend, he is so good at sitting down and watching a team, whether it be on film or coming into a practice and watching it and picking it apart and knowing exactly what needs to be done. And he's taken teams that have had very, very little skill level and they were very, very successful because he puts them in the right positions. And I feel like he's helped me so much, and there's still so much more that I can learn from him. But he comes into practices, he'll come into games, he'll come in at halftime sometimes, and you could see him coming down the back stairs to chase me and say, you got to do this, you got to try this, you got to try that. And I'm sure you guys sitting at the table can hear him behind me sometimes. He's gotten much, much louder as he's gotten older. He used to keep his mouth quiet, and now he kind of does it. Now he's kind of yelling, get this, do this, run that. And as soon as he says run and he calls it an offense, I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's something that we ran when I was in high school. So I think it's a huge, huge advantage for me to have somebody with it's like a book of knowledge and have him sitting there with me. And although I can't bring him on my bench because my mom won't let that happen. So that's one of the reasons why he's not with us full time, because she thinks that it'll ruin the relationship between all of us if he's on the bench with me, because we do some things a little bit differently. But I'm very, very fortunate that I have somebody like him that has been a mentor to me and is continuously helping me through pretty much every little thing that I've gone through as a coach and as an athlete. I can still beat him one-on-one though. I'll tell you that.
I would hope so. You probably beat me.
We had some battles. We had some serious battles when I was in high school and I would come home from college. No. He was good.
You would beat me one-on-one, so I'll just sit back on that one. Now moving on, growing up in the 80s and 90s was an interesting time in terms of fashion. I know you've been dying to answer this question. Do you ever look back at what fashion was during those times and think, geez, what was everybody thinking?
Well, it's funny. My mom was cleaning out, I don't know if it was the garage or something at their house, and she gave me a bag of stuff, and it was my uniforms from high school. Our uniforms in high school, we had sleeves. And I have a picture I could send to you. We had sleeves on the uniforms, and the shirts were like, they had like a little slit up the side, and they were like this like really thick mesh that was not breathable at all. And then we wore these little tiny shorts. And ours, and this is not no dig on Dunsmuir, but ours had the elastic waistband was like dry rotted. So before every game, I would have to take a roll of tape and tape the waistband to my shorts to hold them up during the game. But she gave me all of those, and I showed them to my niece and nephews, and they're like, "You wore these?" I said, "Yeah, those were our uniforms, like sleeves, short shorts, like thick mesh. We had those pants that had the button-up pants on the side that you could tear away the pants after you're done warming up, which are still pretty cool. I think there's some teams that try to bring those back. But the other fashion stuff, like, was it Z Cavaricci? Do you even know what that is?
I was too young back in the 90s. I hate to admit.
They were like MC Hammer. Remember MC Hammer?
Like the parachute pants?
Yes, like the parachute pants, like those. We had, I think it was called Hypercolor, that like you could wear a sweatshirt and you put your hand on the sweatshirt. It would turn a different color.
Oh, yes. I've seen that.
So yeah, fashion was definitely a lot different, but there's a lot of stuff that's coming back. Jean jackets. You're not going to catch me in the overalls, but I see a lot of people wearing and we had some crazy hairstyles back in the day. sprayed up. All the pictures I have from when I was in high school, my hair was always like sprayed out like this. It was like it was whoever could spray it up the highest and get it to stay had the better hair.
Oh man, I love hearing stories about the 80s and 90s. So now you've been in Northeast PA most of your life. What's your favorite restaurant in the area?
See, this is a tough question because my family owns a lot of restaurants. So I'm gonna go with a couple of my family restaurants because they are. Villa Maria is the best pasta, and that's in West Scranton. Best pasta, and the portions are huge. That's my Uncle Joe, my dad's brother. Nina's, believe it or not, is my cousin's own Nina's. All the Nina's that are all over. There's one in Kingston now that you could get delivered to Wilkes. Pizza and wing bites, unbelievable. And then one of my absolute favorite, and I live in Dixon City, so it's close to me, but it's Happy Valley. One, because it's a Penn State restaurant, but two, the food is unbelievable, and they do different specials each week. It's really, really good. So those would be the three different types of food. But Italian food, it's Villa Maria and West Scranton.
Wow, that sounds pretty good. I haven't eaten anything yet today, and it's 11:15 in the morning, so it sounds pretty good.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Well,
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get there. Now, here's a question I've been dying to ask you. If we set up a game of 21 between you and assistant coaches Lindsay Howard and Gab Giordano, who do you think would win?
Okay, are we talking 21? Is there like physical contact in this? Because if there's any physical contact, I'm definitely not winning.
Just a regular game to 21.
Just a regular like one-on-one game to 21.
Yeah.
Then it's tough because we're three different types of players. Gab is like a beast. So like if it's anything that she's going to be driving at us and like we have to body her up, Gab gets that win. If we're able to like stand outside and shoot the ball, then I'm winning that. And if we have to guard somebody inside, Lindsay wins that. So if we actually went out on the court and we were able to train for a few weeks to get ready for this, because that's the important thing at my age is you have to be prepared to do that. I don't know. That would be.
I don't know. I practiced with you guys that one time, and all three of you looked pretty good.
I'm going to say it just because I'm going to stir the pot here with them. I would win. I'll say it. I would win.
I hope Lindsay and Gab watch this, and then we can get their responses. So now the final question. I know that you post a lot of pictures of your pets on social media, and you have an account for the student athletes' pets. Can you tell us about your pets?
Sure. I have a 9-year-old yellow lab, Charlie, and he was getting pretty bored. So last spring, when Gianna Roberts, one of my players, was volunteering at Blue Chip, and she called me and said, "We have a golden lab puppy that just got dropped off." So I went and picked up a 9-month-old golden lab puppy, and her name is Nittany, and she is now 2 years old, and they're very, very good together. Charlie's wild at 9 years old, and Nittany just wants to lay around. And I love Nittany just plopping around. And but they're both adorable, and it's really nice to be able to take them out and take them different places and take them for walks and go out in the yard and play ball with them. But I think they're just so cute. And you see on our account, I actually don't one of our players runs that account because she was the one that wanted to do that, but the dogs are so cute, and I think it's so cute that everybody is kind of sharing that, and especially during these times, you need to smile and you need to put a smile on your face, and I feel like the pets always do that for all of us. I see you posting things too. It's always a puppy that puts a smile on your face. So when you come home from a long day at work, or you come home from a game or something like that, you walk in your house and the dogs are wagging their tails, and they don't know if you won or lost. They don't care. They just want to play. So it just makes you happy because it's somebody that doesn't care. It's unconditional love and support.
I'm actually looking into getting a dog myself, talking to Gianna. So,
what are you getting?
That's an excellent question.
Is there a specific breed that you want?
There are specific breeds that I want, but I'm looking just to adopt somebody who will fit in my tiny apartment.
Well, I would say I actually got Charlie from a pet store when I got him 9 years ago, and I adopted Nittany. And if you could adopt.
That's 100% what I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Macciocco, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for joining us and wish you the best of luck the upcoming school year.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.